What's going on, everyone? It's Blendon here from Elite 4 TV, and today we are going to go over some Rainbow Cup preparation, looking at some spreadsheets as we do. So this time we've got 40 Pokemon on the left column that you can sort of measure your Pokemon against, and this list is some of the most meta picks, and it doesn't have everything in there yet, but yeah, I've uploaded most of it so that you guys can sort of start building your teams around this. And I have a bit of help this time from one of the PvPers in the PvP Discord, Kevin DV, so shout out to him. Maybe if I can get more help, we can upload more Pokemon. So if you guys are a spreadsheet nerd and like to contribute, man, do leave a comment, message me on PvP Discord. I love to have a little bit more help on making these sheets for everyone. So let's have a look at what we have on the spreadsheet. So here we've got the data sheet. Basically, this time there are 5 columns. So 0 shield means that if it's blue, your Mantine is winning that matchup. So against Beedrill, it wins. And then 1B meaning 1 best case scenario. So that means you're shield baiting and your opponent is got baited and you land your best charge move and you win. So you can see Beedrill, you win with a more positive, versus if you didn't shield bait, yeah, you'll be left with less health, basically. That's what it means. So 1, worst case scenario, 2, best case scenario. This is copied of Gotsy. So Gots is another spreadsheet expert in the PvP Discord. He would have contributed quite a bit on your team building as well. So with that said, you can also look down the bottom at, look at the overall battle rating of each Pokemon. So the higher the rating, obviously, the better it is. And then you can see Victory Bell, even though there's a lot of losing matchup, it completely farms a lot of the water Pokemon. So this battle rating, the disclaimer that you need to keep in mind is that because there are some repeated elements typing, so for example, I repeat Poliwrath several times, and I repeat also, you can see Mantine. There's 3 different versions there. So this one is slightly skewed. So you got to keep that in mind, that this battle rating might not be the most fair number that you can sort of go with. But what's more important is looking at the trio builder. And the trio builder allows you to see what kind of weakness, or you can compare Pokemon. That's what I use to compare Pokemon. So say, for example, if I'm trying to compare my Electrics, I look at Lantern, and then I look at Magneton, and I look at Raichu, and I want to know which one is more viable, or what matchup I'm losing, basically by choosing Raichu over the other 2. So you can see Raichu, I'm gaining this matchup against Charizard with the 2 and 1 shield, and the 2 shield where I'm not shield baiting and both my wild charge gets blocked, then I will lose that matchup. But in most cases, I'm going to beat that Charizard. Magneton's going to lose in the 1 and 2 shield, whereas Lantern, of course, has got a very positive matchup against Charizard, as you can see here. When I'm analyzing these, I'm just trying to note down what Pokemon that Raichu has against the meta that the other 2 Electrics don't. And then what I do, once I've done some notes, I like to copy it into here, and you can see some examples that I've done. Electrics, Lantern, Magneton, Raichu. The main thing that I saw with the 3 Electrics was that Raichu has majority of 1 shield matchup. So 0 shield is better for Lantern, but 1 shield, Raichu comes out on top. So it's a lot more shield pressure coming from Raichu than it is from the Lantern. Magneton does have some positive matchup, such as the Executor. Only Magneton can take on the Executor. But if you're running Forestress, for example, maybe Magneton is not so useful to have on the team, because you'll have that matchup anyway. So those are some of the things that you might consider by comparing the 3 Pokemon and then thinking about what is missing on your team. That is a good way to do it. Now, if you're building a trio, how I like to do it is I might look at coverage. So Lantern and Forestress is one of the ones that I notice have very good coverage against each other. So you can see if it's blue here and it's yellow on the second Pokemon, you know that's near perfect coverage. The only weakness that this duo have, that the Lantern and the Forestress have, is Quagsire, which is a huge problem because there are going to be a lot of Quagsire in the Rainbow Cup. Okay, so this is a good way to figure out whether or not you've got a good duel. Now, going to the next thing is Team Builder. Team Builder, we're going to check out how we're going to build our 6. Okay, so very important is, you know, we have read some articles, we've seen some tournaments. King's released his Philadelphia video, and you can see that the teams in that tournament are very, very centric around Venusaur and Quagsire, because these two have such good TDO or total damage output with such huge pressure. Frenzy Plant is no doubt one of the best charge move with very, very hard hitting grass damage, or in most cases in this meta, neutral damage. The only time it's getting resisted is against the Bug and the Flyers. And Mantine, because it's got the water subtype, it's taking neutral damage. So Venusaur is super lethal in this cup. And then you got Quagsire. Hard to replace him. I mean, there's talks of Politoed, but I just don't think it comes anywhere near Quagsire, because Quagsire, he's got the Earthquake and he's got the Stone Edge, as well as, you know, he's got the variant for Sludge Bomb to take on the Azumarill. Quagsire is very, very irreplaceable in this cup. And I mean, I definitely have him on the roster, but you know, if you're going for the off-meta team, then you're going for the off-meta team. This third spot, I would put an Anti-Grass. Now, Anti-Grass, you guys might have seen Charizard, Mantine, and then, you know, Ninetales as well. Now, Charizard is a very dominant Anti-Grass. Obviously, it can farm the Venusaur with 1 shield and have 2 Blast Burn ready to go. So that's very, very good on Charizard's side. And if you are running the dual Venusaur Charizard, that is very, very tough to beat. And one of the ones that might be able to take Charizard and Venusaur together, maybe Slowbro. Maybe Slowbro. I actually had some notes on that. Well, but we can talk about that in another video. Now, the fourth one is Anti-Grass again. Now, why is this important? What do we learn from Kingdom Cup? Something to counter Bastion and Kingdom Cup. And if you only brought Lucario, it's very, very easy to bait out the Lucario, lock it in, get rid of it, and the Bastardin is going to own. So this is the same scenario here, because if you only have one Anti-Grass and if your opponent can get rid of it, often maybe someone earlier in the meta, people might make that mistake and just bring Charizard. If they wipe out your Charizard, your Venusaur is very, very dangerous, because spamming Frenzy Plant can just wipe the whole team. So having a second Anti-Grass is very, very important, I believe personally. And from my testing, you know, if I see only a Charizard, you know, I can lock the Charizard in and Venusaur can sweep quite easily. So definitely think about that. Now, the Anti-Grass spot, you got Forestress. You can also run a Mantine and Charizard. Some people are running double Flyers now. But Forestress, the cool thing about Forestress is that it can farm the Venusaur with 0 shield. This is very important. If you're switching into Forestress, you need to get the Forestress in very, very early, because you can see, let's have a look, Venusaur versus Forestress battle. And we jump in Sandbox and we turn the Earthquake into another Bug Bite. So we're going to just tank these Frenzy Plants here. And then we can tank one more Frenzy Plant. So very, very important that you're switching in early, not letting the Venusaur getting more than 3 Vine Whips. So then now you can farm it with Bug Bites only, and you'll end with 100 energy. With 6 health, whatever comes in, you know, maybe if it's you're expecting a Charizard, you can do a Rock Throw, or otherwise you can just do an Earthquake in most cases, depending on what you know it's coming. So very important matchup with the Forestress. But you can also run some of the other bugs like Beedrill. And I mean, yeah, there are a couple of bugs in this cup. You know, Yanma, some people are talking about that. I mean, I didn't run too many sims on that. But if you guys are running Yanma and you find it really, really well in your team, yeah, do leave a comment. Love to hear about it. So last two spot, we've got a water tank. I think this is quite important because people are going to bring Charizard, and having the Quagsire is not enough because Air Slash or the wing attack version of Charizard can actually 2-shield Quagsire. If you're 2-shield, if you swap in Charizard and you've got 2 shields, Quagsire comes in, you can actually take out the Quagsire. So having a second water tank gives more of a threat to Charizard. That's very important. And so Azumarill I like because it can farm the Charizard. So let's have a look at how this one works out. So Azumarill and a Charizard at half HP. Let's just say it just came out of a match with the Venusaur, and then it's got 100 energy. So we've got Ice Beam. Yeah, as you can see, the Azumarill can take 2 blast burns and end up with around 55 energy, ready to go for the next round. I mean, it's not huge. You might choose to block one of the blast burns, but you can completely farm Charizard in a neutral matchup as well, as you can see here. Let's have a look. So let's change this Ice Beam to Bubble, and we just take 2 blast burns in the face. No, we die. So the last spot, a flex spot. So I think you might play Lantern in the water tank spot. You can play Azumarill. Some people play both, but in the flex spot you can put pretty much anything. Confusion User I don't think is mandatory, but Confusion User have been quite popular. As you can see, King ran Executor like a pro. You see the downside with Executor is that it takes a ton of damage from the bug bites. So Confusion Users such as Slowbro as well, which is what Hellstark ran. Hellstark had a Slowbro on his team. And then you've got Electric that you can play. I don't think Electric is mandatory, but again, if you want to run Raikou, I think those are very, very good choices as well. Otherwise, Makago, a lot of the winning teams in the first week had Makago, and I think the reason for that is it's because no one really knew what to bring yet, and most brought Charizard, and Makago was a straight hard counter for the Charizard. So how you can use this team builder, again, if you've been to this channel before, obviously you just do the drop down. Hopefully we'll have more Pokemon for you to choose from soon, and we've got some of the charge moves. I think it's very, very important that you learn some of the counts for the main Pokemon, such as Azumarill. You want to know how many charge moves does it need to get to its first move. So Hydro Pump obviously is 7, and an Ice Beam is 5, I believe. Let's have a look. Yep. So Ice Beam is 5 bubble. So you need to remember how many fast moves for some of the main Pokemon, so you can make sure you be more energy efficient when you have an opportunity to farm extra energy. That's very, very important. Now on the opponent's analysis, what you can do is obviously once you've done your team selection of 6, it just repeats itself in the opponent's analysis. What I like to do is, when I'm practicing, I put my opponent's team in here and I try to analyze this team. So for example, this one here, how would I sort of play against it? Azumarill, Lantern, Forretress, Charizard, Venusaur, Quagsire. I would look at probably Executor, because I'm only losing to the Forretress and I'm only losing to the Charizard really, really hard. So if I can somehow get rid of the Forretress by playing my own Charizard, I might play a Charizard and Executor, and then maybe a second one that will be neutral against Forretress and Charizard, or at least a slightly positive matchup such as Azumarill. As you can see, Azumarill and Executor will be close to perfect coverage against this team. As you can see, Exeggutor, it's got the 2 shield matchup for everything, and then Azumarill can take out the Forretress and the Charizard in the 0 and 1 shield match. So I would play those two together and perhaps fit a third one in. I don't know, maybe not Charizard. I might fit Quagsire because it just makes a bit more sense. No. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be. It could work, but I got to be really careful with Quagsire and Azumarill to make sure I take out the Venusaur. I have the Venusaur matchup against Exeggutor, so that's very important. So it's okay to bring, 2 of the same type. You just have to be very, very aware in the order of your team. So that's something I play around with. And, if you like, you can copy paste again. When you're practicing, you can take some notes of these teams, and then once you finish, you can copy these notes and just copy, and you can chuck it down here. If you just paste values only, you'll be able to see the numbers as well. So whatever you write. But yeah, I mean, you might just want to bullet point the main thing. So hopefully this is going to help you with your preparation. It's a massive tool, and I talked a lot. Hopefully there was something useful. But yeah, very exciting about the Worlds as well. So you guys might have seen it. And yeah, Veloash is already preparing for the Worlds. And I don't know if he's going to be able to have time for some Rainbow content. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but I'll try put some out as well. And maybe I'll try record some matches with him, and so you guys can have a look. Until next time, catch up soon.